That's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on. Well, hi there, this is Jairus Withrow at jwithrow.com, and welcome to this lesson where I'm going to teach you how to play Ever Be by Bethel. And this is a gorgeous tune. And the cool thing is I'm going to show you two ways to play it. The first way is the original key, the key of D, with a female vocalist leading and no capo. I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to help you work through those notorious chords, B minor and F sharp minor, which you may be thinking, oh, I got to play a bar chord for those. I don't know how to do it. But guess what? I'm going to show you how to play chords that are not bar chords that are gorgeous, and I would play these anyway. I would not even use bar chords if I were going to lead this myself. So the second way is going to be for a male key with a capo. You need to have a capo to do that, and those are some really fantastic chord shapes that you're going to learn too that are substitute chords, and we're going to be thinking in the key of E on that actually. So I'm going to be teaching this at sort of a beginner intermediate level, so I'm assuming you already know how to play chords, you know how to read like chord fingering charts, that's familiar to you. This is just going to be a nice simple version that sounds really good and is going to be it's going to make it where most people who are watching this can play it. So let's dive in. Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have this chord chart that comes with this opened in another tab on your browser, or that you have it printed out, because I'm going to be referencing it the whole time. That's what we're going off of. So let's look at that chord chart and let's just jump into it. The first thing we see is the intro. We're playing a regular old standard D chord, 4-string D chord. And let's talk about the pattern. This pattern, we're gonna see it again in the chorus. So this is just sort of the chorus strumming pattern. It's very simple. Even if you play more or less strums accidentally than what is written here, it's okay. As long as you keep your hand moving, it's gonna sound great. It sounds like this. Ready, and a 1, and 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1. That's our strumming pattern. Okay? And even if this sounds a little much, simplify. Just go down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, down. It's whatever you want, or just all downs and ups if you want. It's gonna sound good as long as your hand is moving and doesn't stutter or stop or do something weird, okay? Well, let's try it. Let's just practice that strumming pattern. Play a D chord with me, and we're just gonna repeat the strumming pattern over and over, and then we'll begin to start playing the chords with it. Here we go. Ready, and a 1, and 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and 2, and a 3. You just want your pick to be held loosely. You don't want to hold it too tight, right? My thumb is muting the low E string. It's wrapped around touching it just to make sure I don't actually hit that. It is okay if you accidentally hit your A string. It's gonna sound fine, okay? You're trying to shoot, just hit 4 chords. If you hit that A, it's fine, but you need to have your thumb wrapped around to mute the low E. Just touching it barely on the side, and that's gonna let your D chord sound nice, okay? Well, that's the strumming pattern. Let's keep applying that to the rest of these chords. We're doing one measure for each of these chords. So let's go to B minor. On the chord chart, it's written in the simplest form possible, just B minor. But we're not gonna play the B minor bar chord, right? Which is a little difficult for most people who are just beginning or they're at a sort of intermediate level. We're gonna play B minor 7 add 11. And so you can see in the chord fingering chart over there, here's the shortcut between D and this kind of B minor chord. You don't have to move your third finger, your ring finger. It can just stay in place. And anytime there's a shortcut in guitar, you need to take it because it makes playing easier and, you know, eventually makes it more fun for you. So your third finger stays there. Let's look at our chord chart. We see our first finger goes to the 2nd fret of the A. Our second finger, that number 2, goes to the 2nd fret of the G string. And then our D and high E are open and our low E string is muted. Now I see a lot of beginner guitarists, they should be muting strings, right? There's an X on it, and that string should not be ringing out. However, they let it ring out, and that is gonna be really gross. If you have a low E open on this chord, it's gonna sound like an E minor chord, and that's gonna throw off the song. You've gotta mute it. There's 2 ways to do it. Either your thumb wraps around a little bit and just touches the side of it to give you a nice mute, or the way that I prefer in this way is to let my first finger sit in the gap in between my low E and A. I call this gap playing, where I literally put my finger in between the strings so that my first finger can butt up against the side of the low E to mute it, while also pressing down on my A string and getting it to ring out. That's just a really great way to do it. You've got to mute that low E string. I can't express that enough. Okay, so that's B minor 7. Really make sure you got some space in between your hand and the neck, and to get all 5 of those strings that are supposed to be ringing out to ring out. And then let's apply our strumming pattern to it. Ready, and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Great. Let's go to our next chord, F sharp minor. Now we're gonna do a substitute chord of F sharp minor 7. Now the cool thing about this is most people who are watching this video have learned to play a regular A major chord. And the cool thing is this is almost exactly the same as regular A major, but we're gonna do something really cool and actually use our thumb today. You might have never used your thumb, but it's actually not as hard as you think, and we're gonna do that. So just make an A chord like you're used to, right? Which is open A string, 2nd finger, the 2nd fret of the D, then 3rd finger, 2nd fret of the G, pinky, 2nd fret of the B, and then high E is open, right? Just regular old A major. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our thumb to wrap around, and it's gonna do 2 things. While we're playing this A chord, we're gonna let our thumb play the 2nd fret of our low E, and you notice on your fingering chart it's a T for thumb, and it's also going to mute our A string. Check it out, that's what it sounds like. F sharp minor 7 is just like an A chord, except we have a F sharp as the bass note. Now, if you have a really wide neck guitar, especially if you're playing like a classical guitar, it's super wide, maybe your hands are a little smaller, and you can't physically wrap your thumb around, you can use your 1st finger if you need to. The only reason I don't like to use my 1st finger is because your 1st finger is so high in the fret that it can be out of tune just a little bit depending on your guitar. So that's why I like to use my thumb, because you can get it low in that fret, as low as possible, to get you the best intonation, best tuning on that note. But either way, whether it's your thumb or 1st finger, make sure it's playing the 2nd fret and muting the A string. And that might take a little bit for you to get used to. It might feel funky, but trust me, this is really worth playing. There's lots of chords that work easily if you use your thumb. And what's nice is we're gonna go from F sharp minor to A later in the song, and all you gotta do is just let the thumb off that A string, and then you're back to A. There's an A chord, there's F sharp minor 7, A chord, F sharp minor 7. So it's really cool. Let's play the strumming pattern on F sharp minor 7. 2, ready, and down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Great. 4th chord of our progression is G. You can use any G chord you want. The one that's written on here is with our middle finger playing the bass note here. 2, X, 0, 0, 3, 4. Our 3rd and 4th fingers there on the 3rd fret. Let's try it. Ready, and down, down, down. All right, that's the intro. We've played 4 chords. Now we're gonna repeat it again for the intro. So let's try it and see if we can get to these new chords a little faster this time. Start on our regular old D major chord. 2, ready, and then right to our B minor 7 at 11, 3rd finger stays. We put that 1st and middle finger in the right spot, and we mute our low E. So important. There should be no tone coming out of our low E string, but a nice, muted sound. Ready, and down, 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 down. All right, F sharp minor 7. Make your A chord, and then let your thumb wrap around. Get that thumb low in that fret. Try and find that sweet spot. Make sure it's wrapped around enough to mute the A string as well, but keep the 2nd fret ringing out. Ready, and then G chord. Ready, and very good. And I'm gonna come back at the end of this as we go through all the parts, and we're gonna play the whole thing slowly without pauses, okay, to give you a chance to play through it. Let's go to the verse. I'm really simplifying this. I'm literally gonna play a single strum for each chord, just letting it hold out for a measure, okay, on this 1st line. So let's play a D chord. Ready, and 1. Your love is devoted. And then E minor. Okay, now instead of just doing a down strum, you can do some fancy. You could strum from your highest string, your E string in pitch, down to the low E string, right? E minor, regular old E minor. So we play that like a ring of solid gold, and then G. like a vow that is tested. Now this is only 2 beats, this F sharp minor, so we make our A chord with our thumb wrapped around. We play it for 2 beats. Ready, and 1, 2, and then we just, here's all we gotta do is just relax our thumb a little more so the A string does ring out, and we mute the low E, and then we make sure our pick really gets that A string, because that's the bass note of A, that's what gives it that A flavor. And then you play A like a covenant of, and then D. So let's proceed on. D, like covenant of, oh, your love is enduring, E minor, through the winter rain, G, and beyond the horizon, F sharp minor with our thumb, with mercy for, see how that works? F sharp minor, then to A with mercy for today. Now, that's the verse. Now, you can play it that simple if you want. There's no problem with that. If that feels good to you, keeping it super simple so you can sing along or whatever, that's great. If you want to have a little more sound in there, then go ahead, strum it real big on the first one, and then, you know, just hit some downstrokes in there. Sort of softly in between the big accented strum, right? Okay, there you have it. Now, when we hit that last G of the word, on the word today of the verse, that's where we begin a strumming pattern. Now, this one's not written out on there, but it's just really simple. Just start doing like downstrokes, right? So like with mercy for today, faithful you have been, and then you switch, just like I do a down up before I switch, down up switch, down up switch chords, and I just do that for the pre-chorus. So let's start right there on that G again on the word today, the last word of the verse. Here we verse 1, ready, and today, faithful you have been, D, and faithful you will be, E. You pledge yourself, E minor, and it's why I sing. And on the word why, we just hold it, and it's why I sing. That gives us that break, that pause, that breathing before the chorus, and then we start our strumming pattern again, okay, that we learned at the beginning. So let's go through it, the chorus. And it's why I sing, your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be. Here's the new B minor chord. Make sure you got that. Third finger does not move. Don't pick it up. Don't waste that energy and time. Switch to B minor, ready, and your praise will ever, right to A, my lips. We're gonna play this again to G. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my intro, D. We got those little intro chords there in between the chorus and the verse 2. Then B minor, 1. All right, look ahead, F sharp minor 7. Here we go. Make that A chord, thumb wraps around, and 1 and 2. Mute that A string with your thumb. And then G chord, 1. Verse 2, let's see if we can go through it. Here we go, D. You father the orphan, E minor. Your kindness makes us whole, and you shoulder our weakness. 2 beats, 1, 2, and then A, 4, and D. You're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes. For you will have your bride, strumming pattern, just downs from all her guilt, D, rid of all her shame, and known by her true name. On Y, and it's why I sing your chorus. Back to the chorus, G, strumming pattern to D, ever be, B minor, keep that third finger in place, ever be, to A chord. Good, repeat the chorus. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my. Remember, if your hand just keeps moving, no matter what you do, it's still gonna sound good as long as you're doing down and ups. Ever be on my lips. Now you can do that. You can sort of build into the bridge. I'm just on that last A chord of the chorus. I just am doing downs. A ever be on my lips. And that's the same sort of down string pattern we're going to use for the bridge. Okay, instead of it having that down up sort of groove fill, it's more straight and driving. So bridge, so just if you just do a straight driving beat, you're just doing all downs, just chunking your way through, it's gonna sound great, okay? And I like to do this 4 times. Oftentimes the first 2 will be a little lower dynamic level, right? The last 2 are really, you're just pushing it as hard as you can. If you're playing with a band, you know, the drummer's going crazy. If you're just playing by yourself, of course, as many people are doing who are watching this video, just really dig into those strings there and sing with all you got. So here we go, bridge, 2, ready and play, and D. You will be praised, A. You will be praised. Now you gotta switch to that new B minor chord pretty quick there. So you gotta get that. One thing I suggest for learning new chords is what I call chord jumping, which is where you literally land your fingers, you jump them off, and then try and land them exactly at the same moment. One thing you don't want to get in a bad habit of is when you learn a new chord is to do the single finger at a time, like the hunt and peck thing, like, you know, on a keyboard someone uses one finger to type everything. You want to use multiple fingers. While in this, you want to land all the fingers, boom, at the same time. So let them land slowly and then jump them and land them slowly again until you develop that muscle memory of where exactly you need to land your fingers, okay? Let's do that B minor, the second line of our bridge. Ready and play, and with angels and saints, we sing G chord, B, R, you back to D. And you will be praised, you will be praised, B minor. With angels and saints, we sing worthy are you. Again, and you will be praised, and you will be praised. With angels and saints, we sing worthy are you, Lord, and you will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints, we sing worthy. Let's hold it out. On the word Lord, Lord, and that's why I sing your, and then you just immediately start the chorus again. Now, I only did it 2 times there. Sometimes you might just want to do it twice, okay? Sometimes if you're with a congregation or a group of people that really is just into it, they want to sing, you need to maybe have a longer night of music, then go ahead and do it 4 times, you know? And so I just did it twice there for time's sake. So let's play that last line again of the bridge into the chorus. We're gonna hit that G on the word Lord, and then we're just gonna let it hold, and then we're going to play the chorus again. Okay, so start on B minor over the word with angels. Here we go, ready, and with angels and saints, we sing worthy are you, Lord. Just let it hold. And that's why I sing your praise with, right, back to the groove of the chorus, the down and ups. On my lips, your praise will ever be on my lips. Ever be on my lips, your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips, your praise will ever be on my lips, ever, and on a D, my lips. And that can end it. You could keep playing the chorus a bunch of times. You can end it on a D and keep singing a cappella the lyrics. Lots of different ways to end it, but if you just want to end it there, boom, D's gonna be a great chord to end on, since that's the one chord. That's the chord of the one chord of the key that we're in is the key of D. So there you have it. That's how you play it. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is at the end of this video, I'm going to have a slow version of this playing through verse 2, pre-chorus, bridge, and all those things, just all the way through, so you can play each of those parts together. Okay. Great. Well, now we're going to learn the male key on this, which, because the original one is pretty low for a male singer, not that you can't sing it, but if you want to sing it higher, get that sweet spot in your voice, then this is a great way to do it. And I'm going to use a capo to play this version. You don't actually have to use a capo because this is in the key of G, and you could do it without one, just playing those chords right. But for the best chord shapes, I think, for that right sound, that
gorgeous sound. I like to put the capo on the 3rd fret. I'm technically playing in the key of G, but I'm gonna think in the key of E. So my chord chart, that's why you see it, is written in the key of E, but in the corner it says key of G, capo 3. And that, of course, lets you remind your band, right? Or remind you that if you're talking to your band, you're actually in the key of G, but that you are thinking in the key of E. So since I already taught, the strumming pattern and everything, this is really just gonna be going over the chords, and we'll play through some of it, okay? And so let's go through it. So if you're familiar with the key of E, then that's great. These chords are gonna seem, nice and easy and familiar. If you're not, that's okay. I'm still gonna walk you through it. We're gonna make sure you got the fingerings down for these chords, but let's go ahead and start with the very first E chord at the top, which is the intro chords here. So let's apply our strumming pattern to this E chord. Ready? And 1 and 2. Great, now let's go to C sharp minor. Now C sharp minor is a power chord shape. If you've ever played power chords, it's this kind of shape where your 3rd and 4th fingers are together, and then your 1st finger spread out. So the way this works is we're going to the 4th fret from our capo. If this was our 1st fret after the capo, then 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to that 4th fret. We're going to put our 1st finger in the gap in between the low E and A string in order to let us butt up our finger against the low E to mute it and to give us that pressure on the A string to actually let that note ring out. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure and keep our thumb on the back of the neck straight up and down with our wrist pushed forward and out from our guitar to curve our fingers, our thumb in the middle of our hand, and a lot of space in between our hand and the neck so we don't choke it. This is gonna allow us to get a good spread on our fingers. This might feel a little funky. You'll feel like your fingers wanna collapse together or something. And what you're trying to do is keep them where they're actually very straight like this. They're not collapsing in, but they're just like this. And so if you can make this shape in the air with your pinky and 3rd finger together, and then you can drop it, that's gonna be the best way to practice this chord, is jump those chords, right? So C sharp minor, 1st finger's in the gaps, playing the A string in the 4th fret, 3rd and 4th fingers are on the 6th fret on the D and G, B and high E string are open. All the chords in this key are droning. They're gonna be open for every chord, and that's nice because it gives us that nice atmospheric style to it. So let's play C sharp minor 7. Sounds like this. Strumming pattern, ready. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up. Okay, now we're gonna go to G sharp minor. Now, the substitute chord for G sharp minor here is G sharp minor 7 sharp 5. And this chord, that is tasty. Check that out. This is like my favorite chord ever. I mean, if it's not, it's super close to being my favorite chord ever. This is wonderful. So this is all in the 4th fret, okay? And it's our 2nd finger on the low E, and our middle finger is also gonna touch the A string. So it can be a little flatter. Doesn't have to be super curved up there. It can flatten out and touch that string. 3rd and 4th fingers are also in the 4th fret on the D and G. B and high E string, of course, are open as they are for every chord in this key. All right, so that's a G sharp minor. Let's play our string pattern. Ready, and good. And then we're gonna go to A2, which is just like regular A, just without our pinky, or A sus2, as it can be called as well. So here we go. Ready, and 1. Good. And then we would play it again, right? We'd play E, C sharp minor, G sharp minor, and A2. Let's go ahead and go to the verse to make sure we get our F sharp minor chord. So we play E, just 1 strum, hold it out. 1, 2, your love is devoted. F sharp minor. Here's the cool thing. F sharp minor is the same exact finger shape as G sharp minor. It's just slid down a whole step to the 2nd fret. So it's gonna feel familiar. That's the nice thing. It's just in the 2nd fret. Sounds like this, and we just hold it out. Like a ring of solid gold, A2. Like a vow that is tested. Back to G sharp minor. It's just the 4th fret with that kind of finger shape. And it's just 2 beats, 1, 2, and then we switch to B, which our substitute chord for this is B sus4, or just for short, B sus. And it is the same exact shape as the C sharp minor 7 substitute chord we used. Okay, and the cool thing, the shortcut here, right, is we don't have to move our 3rd and 4th fingers to go from this G sharp minor to the B chord here. All that has to take place is our middle finger comes off and our first finger goes to the 2nd fret in the gap. You put it in between the E and A strings so it can touch the low E and press down on the A. You make sure your B and high E string are ringing out. Test those strings, make sure they're ringing out. And that's B, and we hold it for 2 beats for the 3rd and 4th beats. 3, 4. Great. And then we play E over the word old there. Covenant of old to your love is enduring. F sharp minor. Through the winter rain, A2, and beyond the horizon. Okay? And those are the chords. So that has taken us through all the chords of this song, and every strumming pattern, every kind of dynamic change is the exact same as I taught in the original key. It's just we're using those chords. So use these gorgeous, beautiful chords to play this. If you're singing a male key, and also if you're a female and you're wanting still to use these chords, then what you can do is just take the capo off and play this without a capo and actual E. Now it's going to be a little higher. Also, what you can do is you could lower the tuning. You could flatten it, each one, to E flat tuning. I have a video called E flat tuning. And so if you just want to sing just a little half a step higher than the original key D and you're okay with that, then you can use these chord shapes, and it's gonna fit a female vocal range really nicely if you do that. So that's some options for you. Okay, so what I'm gonna have now is where I'm actually gonna play through a good portion of the song in the original key of D so that you can practice along with me. Well, I'm in the original key of D, and so I'm going to start on those 4 chords that are in between the first chorus and the 2nd verse. And I'm going to play from there to the end of the song, and that's going to allow us to cover each part of the song and get that down. I'm also going to play this a little slower than normal just to make sure you can practice along with it, and then the real thing, you can bump it on up, okay, in tempo. Well, let's start there on that D chord, D, B minor, F sharp minor, and G. Ready, and down. Verse 2, here we go. And you father the orphan, your kindness makes us whole, and you shoulder our weakness, and your strength becomes our home, and you're making me like you. You're clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes. For you will have your bride, free of all her guilt, and rid of all her shame, and known by her true name. And it's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. And you will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. Angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. And you will be praised, you will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. And that's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my
Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my